So we are outside and we're going to play and make some shapes in clay. So Jack has brought out his Play-Doh to do the shapes with, and I've got some lovely clay. Okay. Oh, and my clay is a little bit dry, so I'm going to have to add a bit of water to my clay. But what I thought we would do is have a little play at making some shapes and patterns. So we're going to squidge out our shapes, and then we've collected some bits to stick on them to make some beautiful patterns. So we've got some little tiny pebbles there that we're going to use, and we've got in this pot here, there we go, we've got a mixture of things. I've got some barley, I've got some red lentils, and I've got some pasta. Hello there, Karen. Hi. So we've got some little bits in here. So we're going to try and make a bit of a mandala pattern. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically a circle and then another circle and another circle and another circle, and you bring it out and out and out and make a beautiful pattern. Or you can make it look like petals on a flower, just like that. So my clay's gone a little bit dry, so I'm just going to add a little bit of water from my cup, and I'm just going to give it a squidge in my hands. And the more you squidge it, the more squidgy it gets. Jack's got nice squishy Play-Doh, so he didn't want to get his hands mucky. So, just go, pop. Oh, exploding clay. Pop, pop. Might need a bit more water. It's gone a bit dry with all the sunshine and being so warm. So I'm giving it a good old squidge down here. And this is really therapeutic for your hands, and you might even be able to find some clay in your garden. So we were doing some digging yesterday and we found some clay, and it might actually be softer than this. So I'm going to try and give it a squidge, and I'm going to try and make it into a circle shape, and then we're going to start sticking things in it, aren't we, Jack? Yeah. And Jack's been making a series of shapes down the table, haven't you? Yeah. So we've got little stones, and I've raided the kitchen to find other bits and pieces that we can use. Oh, and it's starting to get squishier now, so I'll be able to start making something with it. Oh, with clay sometimes if it gets a bit dry, you've just got to work and work at it. And if you find your own clay in your garden, you might find it's very hard at the moment because it's very dry. But if you keep adding water and keep squishing it, it might take a bit of time, but you can make it into perfectly functioning clay to mould with and make pots and things. I've got a few kids at one of my schools in Blackpool, and they spent the whole of the 2-hour session squidging at the clay that they dug up and making beautiful things with it. I think they ended up making some pots to go with a history theme that they had going on in their class, because I think they were doing Romans and digging up pots. So I squished it into a bit of a flat. Oh, I wish I'd squished this before I came on live. It's taking some muscles to get it working. So, there we go, keep squidging it. There we go, that's better. Starting to get a bit more squeezy. And oh, there we go. Jack's even bought some stamps out to stamp into it. And you can use natural things to make stamps as well. So you can maybe find some bark off a tree, or a pine cone, or different leaves, and you can make it into different things. So it's starting to get nice and squidgy, and I can roll it around in my hands. There we go. Oh, there's nothing better than feeling a bit sticky. So squidge it down like that. There we go. Can you see that from there? Yes, you can. Good. So I'm going to squidge it down with my fingers. And then, because Jack is using the roller, so I'm going to squidge it into a shape like that. Right, there we go, and it's flattened it off with my fingers. Beautiful. So I'm going to start sticking some different bits on. So I think I'm going to start with the really small stuff. So I've got some lentils and I've got some barley. I think I'm going to start in the centre with some barley seeds. So there we go. And I'm going to make a little flower shape. That's it. I'm going to squidge it in. Oh, Jack's doing the same. He's getting squidgy with hers. And it's a great activity to do with kids. I sometimes bring it out and we do it with salt dough. Different activities, because it's something that really sings home to a lot of people, is just sitting and having a little play and making beautiful patterns. It's a bit like colouring, but on a larger scale. So I'm going to take some lentils now, and I'm just going to go around in a circle with my lentils. Now you don't have to stick to one thing as you're going round in a circle. You can pick lots of different things. So you could have a lentil and then a pasta, and then a lentil and then a pasta. You could make a snake shape. Because these lentils are nice and round, they kind of look like the dot art that they do in Africa. So it's so where they get little like sticks, and they dip them in the paint and they dot, and they make beautiful pictures like lizards. I'm sure if you Google it, it'll come up, and it's really beautiful. And these lentils lend a hand to that. So you could actually make a beautiful dot art picture with the lentils. And if you get split peas or like a soup mix of some kind, they have like yellow split peas in, which will be an extra colour and shape for you. So I don't know if you can see that. Can you see it? Let's bring you a bit closer. Let's see if you can see what I'm going. There we go. So we've got it going on here, and I've got my barley and I've got my lentils in there at the moment. There we go. Hi. Oh. There we go, and I've got my lentils and my split peas in there. There we go. And I'm just going to add some pebbles. So I've got a lot of little tiny pebbles, and I've got some bigger pebbles. But my bit of clay isn't big enough for the bigger ones, so I'm going to find the smallest ones that I can and try and sort them into a pattern and have a little play and just make a lovely mandala shape. And the joy of clay is it does dry out, as you saw at the beginning. And it does dry hard, so if you leave it in the sunshine, it will dry in the air, and then you'll be able to use it. You could put a bit of varnish over the top if you wanted. You can make sure it's really flat and make it into a nice coaster.
Coaster?
A coaster, so you can put your cup of tea on it. Like a little mat is a coaster, Jack. And then coming around here, carry on sticking. There we go. It's a nice activity just to slow yourself down and start creating something nice. And even if you're not creative at all, even if you haven't got a creative bone in your body, or you think you haven't, making circles is something that everyone can do. So you just go round and round and round. You can make it as big as you want. You can get a nice big piece of clay. So if I squidge all this up, I can make a right big circle of clay and make a beautiful circle pattern going on there. Or I could make it into a funny teardrop shape or something like that, and that would be really good as well. So this was just a little idea to slow you down and get you thinking. And because it is Mental Health Awareness Week, and sometimes you just need to take a little bit of time out. And it's a great activity to do with the kids, because as you can see, Jack is busy working away over here, and I am able to sit and have a nice little drink in the sunshine, relax and get covered in clay. And if you don't like clay, you can make some Play-Doh or some salt dough or even some bread dough. You could decorate it with things that are edible. So you could make a sort of bun or a tea cake dough, and then press in the raisins and the sultanas and the orange peel and cranberries and dried apricots and all the dried fruit. You could chop it all up and make it a beautiful pattern on a bread dough and then put it in the oven. You could even do the same on a pizza, couldn't you? Yeah. And if you don't fancy any of that, you could always use the same with glue. So maybe get a piece of card or a piece of cereal box, paint it with glue, and then stick on your items on there. That might be exciting. What do you think?
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh, that'd be good. Oh, you're making beautiful circles over there, Jack. Oh, lovely. Let's turn the camera around so people can see what you're up to over here. So, there we go.
That looks like an apple skin.
Does it look like an apple skin? Oh,
Yeah.
it does. And then down here, He's made a little orange creation over here, and he's making some circles over here, using the end of the rolling pin to make the circles. That's quite exciting. There we go. So, hope you enjoyed that. Just popping on for a couple of minutes. So, make sure you take time for yourself. Have a little breather this week. Get a little bit creative, or at least get the kids creative so you can sit down and have a nice cup of tea while they're being creative and you're just looking at the beautiful pebbles. Because you can spend time searching through little pebbles and everything for the right shape. So, could take you 5 minutes, could take you an hour just to work out which pebble fits where. Bye everybody.